20-somethings who are either married or in committed relationships who say their unions are more secure and more honest because they don't believe in monogamy.
I just took off my clothes and I had to do it.
We're talking about swinging, or as it's known now, living in the lifestyle.
We're going to have to get you some punani.
Technically, an orgy requires a minimum of 6 participants.
What about my three-way?
This is a new generation of swingers.
Waves will be coming at you on Friday, Saturday. By Sunday, your nuts going to be drained.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Swingin' Around Episode 8, the conversational podcast about swinging and sex. I'm Cal.
I'm JB. So today we're going to be talking mostly about Desire Resort in Mexico. And it's not really a review podcast. We'll more or less just be talking about it, our experiences since we went.
Well, it is kind of a review. We're just we'll be talking about all the various aspects of it. But first, let's talk about your trip. You had a business trip recently, and
I did have a business trip. I wasn't gone very long. As you listeners know, we live in Michigan, and I recently had the opportunity to go to southern Florida in the Fort Lauderdale area for a business trip. The weather was gorgeous, and I was only going for 2 nights. Not very long, just a quick little jaunt. And I found myself, the morning that I was there, I didn't have to get up as early as I normally would for work. I got a little bit more sleep than I normally would. So usually I'm about a 6 hours per night type girl, but I found myself getting able to sleep longer. And towards the morning, before my alarm ever even went off, I woke up to find myself basically humping the crap out of the bed. Like, full-on humpage, which is something I haven't done since I was, younger. It was kind of like an early form of masturbation without really knowing what I was doing. I was having this, super intense sex dream with me, and Cal incidentally was in it, which sometimes he's not, but he happened to be there, along with 2 other unknown men who were just ripped to the nines, hot, sexy men. And at one point, we were essentially having a gangbang. They were going at me and taking turns. And then there's another point where there's just this mysterious woman who she was just nondescript, and one of the guys was banging her. She was on a couch on her back, and he was standing up banging her with her legs widespread, and I was behind giving him a rim job. And
this is so fucking hot. I'm getting hard. I've heard this story multiple times, and I'm getting hard still.
It was an incredible dream, and I woke up dripping wet, so stimulated, I wouldn't have been surprised. I probably had an orgasm from the dream. I think I did, because I had an orgasm in the dream. I'm pretty sure that I had an orgasm just regularly from the dream, and I couldn't believe how wet I was. I was so hot, so bothered, that I got up, I crossed the room, went over to my suitcase, got out my vibrator, which I happen to have packed with me, because I've been uber horny lately, and I went to town. I had to do it. I couldn't hold back. I was just so turned on. And after I was done, a couple orgasms later, I removed my vibrator, put it on the nightstand, and went back to bed for another half an hour. Yeah, it was fantastic.
That's so fucking hot, but I'm so jealous because I never ever have sex dreams.
Except the one.
I know. I'll get to that in a minute, but I never, you will just go through these phases where you'll go a while without.
Oh yeah, I've had lesbian sex dreams, and I've never really had a lesbian phase, but there was a period in my life where I was having lesbian sex dreams. I had a few in a row. But
you will go you'll go through phases where you'll have it seems like a bunch, and you'll tell me about them. Then you'll go for a while, then you'll have a bunch, but
it doesn't really correlate with our sex life either, because we had a lot of sex last week. Yeah. Before I left, and over the weekend before I left, we had a bunch of sex. I definitely wasn't sex deprived before I went on my trip.
But I always get so jealous whenever you describe sex dreams. But after you told me that story, it was just so funny because before you left a few days, remember I told you that I had the sex dream. It was basically the exact same dream that I'm with 3 other guys, and we're just fucking you, just a gangbang.
Yeah,
So-
it was nothing homoerotic at all. It was just you dreaming about you banging me with other guys.
Yeah, like...
Which, by the way, when you first started describing it, I thought it was like you banging me and 2 other chicks. So, the inverse of my scenario where you were the only guy.
Mhm.
And then when you made it clear that it was 3 guys, my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe that that's what you were dreaming about. And that got me so turned on that
Yeah.
you would dream about that scenario because
I guess-
that's what I'm into.
I guess it's one of my fantasies. I mean, it would be hot. It would be a hot scenario.
You wouldn't mind sharing your woman?
No, I
Because
think
I
that,
would be so turned on.
I think that'd be hot.
we could go a little airtight.
I find it interesting how you like your fantasy is that the guys just go one after another, like not the.
Well, they take turns.
like-
I don't want to be like. I don't want it to be like 3 independent sex sessions in a row where one guy bangs me till he's done, then the next guy bangs me till he's done. I don't want it to be like that because I don't know. That's not the scenario. It's more like one's banging for a while and I'm blowing someone, and then they kind of they do like a round robin, and so he's in there for a few minutes, but he doesn't want to hog. So
The round
so
robin.
he gets out of the puss, and the next one gets in and takes a turn. And I see that in porn all the time, and I like to watch it that way. And then eventually towards the end, one guy will stay in and come, and the other 2 usually use their hands until they're done. But recently I actually watched a video where one guy did his business for a couple of minutes. He came, then the next guy went in, used the puss, then he came. It's like using the puss for what it's truly designed for. It's a fuckhole, right? I mean, you're pleasuring it, but you're also using it for your own pleasure. So,
Yeah. But it was just so hot, and I'm getting hard still talking about
well,
that.
that's the point of the show, right? Get you hot, bothered, turned on, and then you listen to us for a little while, and then go fuck. I mean, that'd be awesome if we're turning listeners on. I'm kind of getting a little wet right now talking about it.
So we want to talk about your dream. I also wanted to talk about a follow-up to, I think it was last episode where we talked about some new toys that we got, and I mentioned the masturbation sleeve that I got that's got the beads on either side.
Yep.
And I just wanted to do a follow-up sort of review on that because I've used it quite a bit since then, especially while you were gone for a few days. So
yeah,
of course
you had to have a pitch hitter in there.
So of course I used it, but it's nice, but I realized it's a little bit too cheap. The one that we got, I thought it was a decent one, but the beads are kind of like those plastic toy beads.
They kind of look like anal beads.
Yeah, but they're a lot smaller. And then the membrane that they're in, because if you picture the toy, it has like 3 holes. One in the middle where the cock goes.
Yeah, there's like
and
the
then,
central channel.
Yeah, and then 2 on either side.
And two smaller channels running parallel for the beads.
2 smaller ones for the beads. And the membrane between those is pretty small, and so of course the membrane broke, and so now when you're using the sleeve, the beads just slide all around, they come out, they're not going like vertical down the cock like they should, so those just had to one set just is completely gone. But I found
Now, can you feel the other set so it's still pleasurable over a regular sleeve without the like beads or pearls in it in general?
Yeah, and I can, and I found that I actually prefer one set because 2, the way that I would just grip my cock on it, like 2, and when I was stroking would just kind of dig in, and it was good with the beads, but
I imagine that might be what it's like to have teeth in a blowjob.
No, I mean the beads are round, but it was just a little bit too much, and if I guess I get a grip going when I'm masturbating.
You do have a good grip. It makes my forearm hurt when I try to jack you off and grip as hard as you do.
So with the beads on either side, it was just a little too much. Now there's only one set of beads. It actually works better, and because I found, and it's also really interesting that my preference for the orientation of the beads. I found that I like the beads to be facing not on the sides of the cock, not on the back, but on the front. I like them on the front.
I would have thought you'd like it on the back where the frenulum is, so it would be rubbing that part and the back of your head.
But the front and back are both good. I like the front more than the back, but I do not like it on the sides. I guess that's where I put the most pressure when I'm squeezing, and that just that's just too much. So I'll recommend a masturbation sleeve with beads if I would recommend it, but if you use a hard grip, you might not want to get it. And also, just be aware that if the beads come out, that could be an issue, but overall, it's not bad.
And there could be different brands out there from what you bought. We haven't been specific as to which one exactly you got.
No, I would be interested in finding a little bit higher quality one that has a little bit thicker membranes, so the beads stay in place, but also
and the material, the gel of the one that you got is, I feel like it's slinkier or a little bit more silicone-y than some of the other ones that you've got. It seems squishier. So maybe that's part of the reason why the beads came out.
So going back to your trip, this was the first time that you've traveled with your vibrator, isn't it?
I think it is. If not, it's the first time I actually brought it with me and decided to use it.
You've been searched at the airport before. You've had your luggage, you haven't gone through your luggage before.
Not this time, so that makes me a little, it's made me a little nervous, but for this trip I was traveling alone, so I didn't have to worry about any coworkers being around. If they searched me, who cares? I'm just around a bunch of strangers, and it's they already use the nudie scans anyway when they scan you, so they seen what goods I got. But if I had coworkers with me, that might be a different story. The last time I traveled, I was with my boss, but when it came time to go through security, I didn't think of this at the time, but right when we carpooled together to get to the airport, and right when it came time to go to security, he says to me, I'm going to go use the restroom. Why don't you go through security ahead of me, and I'll meet up with you on the other side. So we went through security completely separately. I wonder if he had something in his bag. Now that I think about it, because why else would he just send me off through security when we could have just gone through together?
That is funny.
That makes me wonder now. But I purposely didn't pack my vibrator then, because it's like I'm traveling with my boss. We're going to the airport together. If I get pulled over or pulled aside because they're searching me, I don't want them to be pulling it out and being like, "Oh, that's all this was."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that is funny. That is I wonder.
Yeah, it helped me kill time, too, because I didn't have to check out until 10, and I got up a little earlier than I needed to on my last day.
Yeah.
And I got ready, and I was sitting there looking at the clock going, okay, I don't need to leave yet. My flight's not leaving for a couple of hours. What do? I just got my vibrator back out and went for another session. It was great.
So, we'll segue from the luggage to Desire, because that's part of the thing about Desire. You got to pack all that luggage.
Oh my God, yes, you do. Desire. So, I guess it might be a good idea to talk about what Desire is for anybody who's not familiar.
Yeah, Desire is a couples-only, lifestyle-friendly, all-inclusive resort.
Mm-hmm. Lifestyle-friendly doesn't mean you have to be in the lifestyle. I would say the majority of the couples who are there either are in the lifestyle or just enjoy being around the sexy atmosphere of the lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So they might not necessarily be the type of people who are looking to play with others, but they're at least open to people who do play.
And it is located the main Desire resort. There's actually a couple that have opened now, but the main, when people say Desire, they're usually talking about the Maya Riviera location. Mm-hmm. And
which is you can fly into the Cancun airport in Mexico, and then you can take a shuttle from there to Maya Riviera. Mm-hmm. Which is it's essentially a big resort area. There's a big strip of resorts, and that's kind of the mainstream all-inclusive area. And then off to the side towards Cancun Lagoon is another strip of, I would say, lesser-known resorts that's kind of off the beaten path.
Yeah.
And that's where you'd find Desire. It's not down the main strip where you'd be next to a bunch of other mainstream mom and pop resorts with kids.
No.
Now it does sit next to other resorts.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing.
They do share. I mean, they share sections of the beach.
Now, Desire is a clothing optional beach or resort, and the section of beach that Desire's on is clothing optional. And it's
but on
funny.
Either side of that, it's not clothing.
Yeah, either side it's clothing required, and it's funny because there's the lounging beds that are on the beach, which are really nice. I hadn't been to, actually, Desire was the first all-inclusive resort that I had gone to. Actually, the first time I'd ever gone to Mexico, even.
Yeah, and I've been to a regular all-inclusive before, so I had something to compare to. It'd been about 10 years since I'd been, but...
It's been about a year since we've gone, right?
Yeah, beginning of January 2012.
Yeah, it's been about a year. And so... I guess before talking about the beach and too much specifics, we can talk more just some general things. So it's a clothing optional resort. And what?
And clothing optional is basically you can be completely nude except in dining areas.
Yes.
Dining areas do require clothing. That's kind of a nice to have because you don't want to be eating next to someone's pubes.
Yeah, I have no problem with it being clothing required for eating.
No, I to me that's more clean. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to be sitting on my
I
dining
agree.
room chair where some guy's junk has been, or
and there's
it's just kind of gross.
There's 3 restaurants on premises, and some actually require more clothing than others. Some there's one that is a buffet style restaurant
For lunch, breakfast and lunch.
And
it's more casual.
It's much more casual. You can just wear shorts and whatnot. And there's a couple more fancier restaurants, and those for the guys, they actually want you to wear slacks and get dressed up a little bit more. For the women can just wear, as long as you're wearing something, that's all that's required. Because they want the women to look sexy. The goal is to be as sexy as you can at all times, and so
when we first arrived, of course, we didn't know what to expect. We'd been in the lifestyle for a couple of years, but we'd never been to this kind of resort, so we've only been there once. And when we got there, they gave us this exceptional greeting. I really, really felt welcomed there by the staff. And they give you a couple of glasses of champagne so you can toast, like, welcome to Desire. Mm-hmm. And then they show you a map of the resort campus so you can see, where your room is, where the different restaurants are, the spa, the gym, the pool, the tennis area, all the different recreational areas. They kind of show you that stuff. And then they let you roam free. But I remember when we first got there, one of the things that they said was, congratulations on this being your first time here. Either 70 or 80% of their business is repeat customers. So, I mean, that really just goes to show you, once you've gone, you can't wait to go back.
Yeah, that's exactly the fact. And we were a little surprised when they said that at first. And then it's totally true. Like, we are counting down the time till we're able to go back.
I cannot wait till we can go back.
So
all-inclusive, if you're familiar with all-inclusives, and you know this, but if you're not familiar, essentially means that you pay one price for the room for double occupancy, you and your partner, and that price includes all of your meals and all of your alcohol. Mm-hmm. So there really aren't any extra out-of-pocket costs, except for tips for the employees, and it's always a good idea to tip your bartenders, to tip the servers. They really do give you great service. There's some evening staff who are there at 2 a.m. to feed you pizza.
Yeah, that pizza.
The pizza there is glorious.
The pizza, like the little Pizza Hut late night, is so awesome.
Yeah.
You leave the disco and then go down and get some pizza, then go to the hot tub or do whatever.
Yeah, the staff really goes out of their way to make you have a good time. And it's not only the staff that's running the bar and the food, but it's also the entertainment staff. So they have a couple of employees there, a couple of guys and a couple of chicks, and the girls are not too bad looking, who are there to make sure the guests have fun. So they set up, during the day, they have volleyball games, naked volleyball, or clothing volleyball if you don't want sand up your junk.
The first day we got there, it was so funny. The first day we got there, I was a little loose with the alcohol, so...
Well, it was your first time with an all-inclusive... Which means all you can drink. So we got there. Our room wasn't ready yet. What did we do? We went to the bar.
Let's talk about that. So you get there, and it was our first time, so we're a little nervous. When do you want?
Check-in was at 3, like a normal hotel, and I think we got there at about 1. So to be fair to the hotel, it was not unusual that our room wasn't ready.
And I think for a first-time couple, you're really not too anxious, but you're wondering how naked are people? Are they just walking around? Everybody's walking around naked.
I wasn't sure what to expect.
Yeah, you don't know what to expect when you get there. And we got there, and
we're in our traveling clothes.
Everybody who gets there is just coming from the airport, and you're just wearing your airport clothes. And so for the first couple of hours, we get there, we check in, we come out, and we're sitting around the lobby and waiting for our room to get ready.
We flew from Detroit, and this was January when we went. So we flew in jeans, and I don't think either one of us wore coats because we knew we wouldn't have anything to do with them, but we flew in jeans and I think zippy hoodies. We pull up into Mexico in jeans and zippy hoodies, and it's in the high 70s to low 80s. It's hot.
Yeah,
and we get to the resort, and everybody's at least in shorts and bikini tops.
It's so funny. We stood out like a sore thumb for a few hours because there we are just in jeans and T-shirts, and everybody else is naked or the most minimum amount of clothing. We stood out. It was so funny. But you meet a lot of nice people. Everybody, just like anybody in the lifestyle, everybody's so nice. We had, within 5 minutes, we had some people come up to talk to us, and, oh, you guys, we can tell you're new. And
poor guy's still stuck in your traveling clothes. Why don't you come grab some food with us?
But that is funny. I mean, it's something to get used to because within 10 minutes of being there, we're talking to an individual who's standing there buck-ass naked.
Yeah, he was bucket. Well, he had sunglasses on.
Sunglasses.
That's the
cock and balls
wear.
Flapping in the wind.
Yeah, yep. He was known for his cock and balls flapping in the wind.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Next time we go, I will for sure change in the airport.
Yeah, I'll probably
bathroom
just wear What I think I'll do is I'll wear my bikini as my underduds.
Mm-hmm,
so
then you can just take it off.
Then I just take my clothes off when we get there.
That's a recommendation we have, listeners. Don't show up and be the awkward couple who's there for a couple hours waiting for your room to be ready.
Yep.
In non-beach attire.
And that was not unusual because shortly after, that same day and even the next couple of days, the same thing would happen. We'd see other people arriving and they'd be in the same situation. They'd get there a little early. Rooms weren't quite ready and they were still clearly in their traveling clothes. I think we saw maybe one or two couples hit the bathroom right over off the lobby and change. So you knew they'd been there before.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
But so going back to getting to the naked volleyball, so we're having some drinks waiting for our room to be ready, and the margaritas are flowing. And
margaritas were delicious.
That was my drink of the trip was margaritas.
I was feeling mudslides.
You were the mudslides.
I was. I mean, also though Fresca vodka. Fresca and vodka is so refreshing.
That is when we learned how good Fresca and vodka was.
It's like you're not even drinking.
It is so refreshing.
It is.
And so I'm making this a longer story than it needs to be. But so we just are waiting around for her room to be ready, and I just sit there and get pretty drunk. And then
you got drunk fast.
And then we end up, when our room gets ready, we take off our clothes. We're walking around the resort, and then a naked volleyball game was going on, and I should not have been playing naked volleyball at that time.
Yeah,
I was too far gone.
One of the only ones who was naked. To be fair, there was one other guy naked. Everyone else was wearing bottoms, I think. So that made it funnier, because I don't think you realized that not everybody was naked.
And I just remember falling all over, and there's probably nothing funnier than a drunk guy falling over.
Oh, yeah, you sucked.
With my balls just flying around.
Yep, they were whipping all around. And then later on, we went to get in the hot tub, and you slipped on your way in, and your cock and balls went in some guy's ear.
Not literally.
No, I think you brushed it.
So, let's talk about the hot tub, though. I have never seen a hot tub like that. It's about
essentially imagine a kiddie pool turned into a hot tub.
No,
it's
bigger
so
than
big.
that. It's how you can fit
about 50 people. I think they
50
said,
to 70, 60, and if you were really to pack it in, you could probably get 100 in there.
Yeah, that'd be packed. But I think the capacity that they've got on the wall is 65.
Yeah,
something like that. And there's a swim up bar right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be in your hot tub, not have to get out to go get drinks, which is fantastic. Because it gets, at the time that we were there in January, it was a little cloudy, so the clouds will roll in, maybe 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock or so. The sun starts to, it's not setting, but it's not as high in the horizon, so it's not as sharp as it's been. And it's a little chilly when you get out of the hot tub. Not chilly like getting goosebumps, so it's just not pleasant. I mean, because the hot tub's so hot,
Mm-hmm.
That it's nice to not have to get out to go get yourself another drink.
What I found funny is the way that you get on a schedule at a resort. Speaking of the hot tub, because you wake up, you lounge, you do whatever until 2 or 3, and then you eat lunch. And
so we should talk a little bit more about the daytime activities too, I think.
True.
Since you're talking about the schedule.
Yeah, but it's just funny because 3:15, 3:30 every day. Everybody, that's the hot tub time.
Yep, the beach clears out. I mean, you look and there's nobody laying on the beach or at the pool anymore. You either head to the hot tub or you go back to your room to relax a little and freshen up for dinner.
Yeah, but
and that's not unusual, at least from my experiences. I've been to one other all-inclusive, and we were there for I think 10 or 12 days, and it was essentially the same thing with clothes, where everybody's kind of on a schedule where you'd get up. You'd relax, you'd read, you'd spend
You go
some
to the
time
hot
in the
tub
sun.
naked?
That's why I said with clothes. No, I mean, I was younger, and so the pool area was the area for the older people, and the beach area was where the young teens and early 20s somethings went, and so I never went to the pool, because that's where you'd go for your water aerobics.
So, before we start talking about the daytime activities, I think it's good to address, we had a listener question ask us about how comfortable you'd feel being a quote-unquote newbie, if it'd be overwhelming. So let's talk about just the general atmosphere, the overall atmosphere of being there, the people, especially since that was our first time.
Yeah.
And
so the resort itself is a very sexy resort. If we just ignore the people first and just talk about the look and layout of the resort, which I think they've started to update it a little bit more even in the last year since we've been there. But when we were there, they've got some statuesque fountains out in the kind of like main area in front of the lobby that are, pretty sexy statues of men and women. There are outdoor beds, like canopy beds, spread throughout the main part of the lobby. They change the sheets regularly. During the day, you won't usually find people fucking. You'll just find people laying out. At night, you might see a little bit more.
Yep.
And it's all kind of wispy and dreamlike and red and white and very sexy.
They have a very sexy red-white theme that's going on, and they have all sorts of tasteful erotic art.
Yeah,
and
very tasteful. But
like you mentioned,
pretty cool paintings.
The statues they're not statues, but like there's some rock art in the main lobby, and it's all very tastefully erotic, and it sets the mood. You walk in, you check in, and then you walk through those double doors, and you're in the lobby, or you're in the outdoor lobby, and you've been transported somewhere pretty fucking hot.
Yeah, and you almost don't. I like how you put it as tastefully erotic, because you almost don't realize until you take maybe the second glance. You maybe even do a double take, and you go, "Oh, that's a statue of a guy and a girl fucking," or something.
Yeah,
you don't realize it at first because it's done so well.
It just looks very like a cool piece of art, especially like you're sitting at dinner and there's these cool pieces of art up on the wall.
Yeah.
Then when you look, it's a sexy back, some erotic lips. It's
it's some leg and heels or things like that. Yeah, it's very hot, and there's a lot of plant life and vegetation that's real bright. You can imagine tropical for Mexico, and that kind of goes along with just the theme of being in this exotic, sexy, hot location. So that whole atmosphere is set, and the rooms are like that too. They're just real sexy rooms with well placed mirrors, and the beds are nice. So that starts off with the sexy atmosphere, and then the people. When we were there, we didn't swap with anybody. Actually, I mean, we didn't end up playing with any other couples when we were there. We met a lot of them. We danced with a lot of couples.
Yeah,
we actually didn't end up playing with anybody, and we didn't feel pressured to at all.
No, not directly. We played in the playroom with each other, and we'll get to that in a little bit. The playroom that's off the disco, which is it's funny. It's
I almost miss it.
It's like a hidden. It's hidden. So
yeah.
we'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to talk about the nervousness that was there with being at a resort, just mentally knowing that you're going to a resort where the expectation is that you're going to be without clothes. And how nervous were you when we were getting ready to go about how you were going to feel actually walking around during the daytime?
Well, we booked the trip, I want to say sometime in June or July, and we were going in the following January, so we gave ourselves a solid 6 months or so to get ready. And before we booked the trip, I would say I was in only semi-decent shape. Not fat by any means, but definitely not the thinnest that I could be. I had a lot of insecurities with my own body image. But knowing that we were going to this clothing optional resort, that gave me the little push to put some extra effort into my workout strategy, and it gave me a goal. And for me, that was fantastic. Being in the lifestyle had already improved my self-confidence intensely. And the amount of clothing that I've worn has decreased less and less. It seems like every time we go to something swinging, because I gain more and more confidence, even if my body doesn't change, even if my body doesn't improve, my self-confidence does, because I see how others react and how you react and how turned on you are. So having some experience in the lifestyle, for me, helped my self-confidence because I didn't have the best self-body image before the lifestyle. So if you're somebody who has body image issues, that's definitely something to consider and to think about. But you don't have to go clothing optional. That's the thing is, you don't have to go naked. There's people who don't go naked, and not everybody there is hot. That's the other thing. There's a mix of people. There's fat people. There's thin people. There's everything.
But
you can
nobody's
imagine.
judging. Nobody's judging. That's what's and it's going to be tough for those of you who haven't gone or are thinking about going. It's going to be a little nerve-wracking, wondering how is this going to go? Am I going to feel comfortable? And
yeah, we were nervous. That's why I only booked 5 days at first. We kept it as a short trip, just in case. And
you totally do not have to go be naked, and you're not even judged for
No.
If you decide to wear clothes. You're not judged. Everybody's so friendly, so laid back that...
Yeah, and there weren't any creepers there. Like, I didn't catch anybody stealing unwanted glances. There was no staring. I didn't see anybody checking out my ass or anything, because I think...
Well, I think you were checking out your ass, but...
But it wasn't in a creepy way.
Yeah,
there was no creepy feelings at all. And I think part of it's because when most people are naked or semi-naked, a lot of the women chose to wear bottoms and just go topless. And a lot of men choose to keep their trunks on, So, but just having the semi-nakedness kind of evens the playing field. If I'm naked and you're naked, you're not going to judge me because you don't want me judging you,
Yeah. And speaking of the men wearing bottoms, a lot of men do, but I think it's pretty common to see most of the men walking around without their shorts on. And
I think you see that more than you see bottomless women.
Yeah, I think you see cocks out more than you see...
You see a lot of titty.
Yeah, you see titty and cock.
But I also think with the women is what you'll see is when they're laying out.
Yeah, when they're sunbathing.
The bottoms come off, but then they choose to put them on when they're walking around.
But when I first got there...
those flappy lips.
I'll be honest, when we first got there, I was a little nervous.
Until you got drunk.
Walking around naked, just because it feels so taboo that you just leave your hotel room and you leave the room naked. But by the time
what do you do with your room key? Where do you don't have a crevice to put it in?
Yeah,
that was a real issue. Like, where do you put it?
I just carried it around everywhere. But by the time we left, by the time the last day, I was walking around, no big deal, just
yeah. And you actually bring clothes with you if you don't want to run back to your room. If you're going to go to the food area, if you might get hungry and want a snack or something. And they do have waiters and waitresses who actually come to you if you want drinks, but you don't usually ask them for food. So if you get hungry, you're going to want to throw on some bottoms anyway.
But it did not take long for me to be comfortable walking around. Everybody's
so
comfortable and open and free that it did not take long to just be able to walk out of the room. Now it is funny when you walk out of your room and there's the maids just right there, and here you are, walking out the room naked. It just feels so weird.
They don't even look twice though. They don't even think about it.
Well, they're used to it, but that it's just so. It's just fun. It's a fun place to be.
Yeah, and yet here we are saying you got to pack a lot of clothes, and we're going to a clothing optional place.
Well, because
you need it for the evening.
Yeah, the evening they have the disco, so. Going back to the schedule, like we were talking about, there seems to be a daily schedule that you clearly...
It's not a posted schedule,
clearly
but
you
it's
don't
kind
have
of what
to
everybody
stick to
does.
It's kind of just the natural flow people find themselves falling into. But so going back, so the hot tub time's about 3:15 or so to 5:30.
The day itself probably starts around 7 or 8. If you want a bed on the beach, you kind of go reserve it. You crawl your ass over there. You lay out on your bed and you read and you kind of sleep in the sun. And then maybe 10, 11 o'clock, you make your way over to where other people are and say your hellos, your naked hellos, maybe a little penis shake. And then you start your drinking. And then noon or 1 o'clock, you grab some lunch and some more drinks. And they'll usually have some pool games at the pool side or volleyball. The staff keeps you busy with fun but not too cheesy activities. Just little things to do, 15, 20 minutes here and there, but nothing that's going to, number one, impact your day, or number two, be, ridiculous, just fun stuff. And so by 3:30, 4 o'clock, you've probably been out in the sun enough for the day. You've been out there since, 8 or 9 o'clock. You've had a couple of drinks by now, and you're ready for some sexy time.
Yeah, so you go up to the hot tub, and the hot tub is just it's the have-it-in place. It's where everybody
really
goes.
mingly, yeah.
Everybody's mingling. You might see some stuff going on. You most likely will see some stuff going on. There's beds all around the hot tub, and clearly you can imagine what's going on.
Pre-party stuff.
Yeah, you can imagine what's going on in those beds.
And our first time in the hot tub, I was afraid it would be cliquey, because people make friends when they're there, and then they plan to go back at the same time as their friends. And so I was kind of afraid that there'd be a lot of cliques there with groups and pockets of people who knew each other. And there were groups and pockets of people who knew each other, but they welcomed everybody in. They weren't exclusionary, they were inclusionary. So even if you didn't know anybody who was there at the resort, by the time you left, you felt like you knew everyone.
Yeah, because everybody wants to talk to you. They want to know your story, where are you from. Everybody wants to talk. It's such a friendly environment, and you'll meet so many people.
It's not because they want to fuck you. Because, that's a question we've had from listeners, too, is how do you know that people aren't being nice to you because they want to have sex with you? And I can say that I think the majority of the time when swingers are being nice to you, it's just because they're nice. Because, like I said, when we were there, we didn't get propositioned to have sex with anybody. And we're a good-looking couple, so, it wasn't because nobody wanted us. It just didn't happen.
But I wanted to go back and highlight the point that we've mentioned, but haven't really highlighted. But is that it is a couples only resort, so you have to be a couple. Going back to what you were saying, where you're not getting any creepy looks or any creepy talking to you, but where Desire differs from other resorts such as Hedonism. You might have heard of Hedonism. It's along with Desire, Hedonism. I think Hedonism 3 is the big one. I think Hedonism 2 closed down, I'm not sure. But it's the other resort that it's often compared to Desire. But that Hedonism allows single males to go. And so that was part of the decision where we decided not to. Yeah. That's why
I
went
don't
with
think
Desire.
they're fully nude. I think they're topless.
I think you're thinking of Temptation.
Oh yeah, you're right. That is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, you're thinking of
Temptation. Because we consider Temptation as well.
Yeah, Temptation is we can't talk too much about it because
Hedonism. We haven't been either.
Yeah, we haven't. Just what we read about reviews before we went, but Temptations is owned by the same people who own Desire. I know that, and it is a topless only resort, so the women can go topless, and it's not a lifestyle resort like Desire. And so a lot of people who aren't quite ready for Desire will check out Temptation. And then there's the group who go to Hedonism, which is, from what I hear, is a pretty crazy time, but they allow single males to go. And so
we've heard that it's fun, but
it's just not the scene that we wanted to be a part of. That because we have talked to people who have mentioned that it hasn't really been a problem too much, but you do have the single guys who are kind of creepy, kind of talking to you and kind of getting crazy. And so the really awesome thing about Desire is that it is couples only. Everybody there is partnered up, so everybody is there together and has that connection with their spouse or their partner. And then
and since most of it's repeat business, a lot of people you're talking to have been there before, so they're probably in a pretty stable relationship and they really know what they want from the lifestyle, or they've been around the lifestyle. So I think that takes pressure off of it for new people. Not being you put too many new people together and they don't know what to expect, I feel like. But this is a mixture of people who've been there and people who haven't. So as a new person last time we went, I didn't feel any pressure to do anything. And I think had we been earlier in the lifestyle, we might not have been as good at mingling, because that's, I think, something we've really improved on over the last few years.
We definitely, being in a lifestyle has
it's made us better
caused us
minglers.
to be better minglers, and you want to. I mean, even in my personal everyday life, I've mentioned that that's how swinging has affected my everyday life. Is that just mingling and talking and flirting and not so much flirting, and usually that's, but
hopefully you're not flirting with anybody at work or whatever.
Yeah. But that's just...
It improves your self-confidence. But so getting back to what I was saying is that there really wasn't anything that I was nervous about after we'd been there as a newbie. I didn't feel pressured. I didn't feel like we needed to do anything. And it wasn't frowned upon if we were hanging out with a couple of couples one night and then said, you know what, we're going to go and just spend some time alone, just the two of us. Because there were couples who did that too, where they said, we're gonna call tonight in an early night and go back to our room and just have fun, the two of us.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly acceptable because everybody is there for your own reasons. You have your own likes, your own dislikes, your own comfort level, and it was really, truly respected.
Yeah, it's a very respectful, everybody just respects each other and has a great time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about food because they had, like the white restaurant, I forget the name of it, but the restaurant that had the white theme, they had some excellent food.
They did have some great food. So there was...
And that was a really, really fun dinner because we...
Was it kind of like an Italian-y kind of place?
Yeah.
And then they had a hibachi?
That was another restaurant. We ate there.
Yep. And then did they have one other restaurant?
Yeah, they had the big buffet style.
Yeah.
And then there was the outside lunch area. Mm-hmm. And then there was the big buffet style that had the breakfast, and then that's where there would be the different themes each night, where it'd be a Mexican theme at night or
Yep.
They had different themes.
Yeah, the food would change up at night, so you weren't eating the same thing over and over again. And the lunch would change a little bit.
But the white restaurant is really a classy restaurant. You really try to dress up a little bit. Guys that's really where you want to wear the slacks, and women just wear the classiest but sexiest outfits that you have and go there.
Yeah, but classy. You don't really see trashy. You see classy.
Yeah.
And so that's where
especially at the white
packing
restaurant
comes in.
And it was hot though, because I remember there's a one day a week or maybe 2 days a week there's a body painter who is there, and
that's not included. That's extra.
No. Yeah, there are some extra charges. I forget what all they were.
Scuba diving was extra. You could take scuba lessons. You have to do it as a couple, so make sure that both people are comfortable with that.
Wi-Fi is free though, and that is awesome.
Yeah,
Wi-Fi is awesome. I know that Desire Pearl, which is just down the road, is 3 miles away from the Desire that we stayed at. Desire Pearl was being finished. It's a resort that was previously a different resort that was renovated, and it was being renovated while we were there, and so we had a few couples we talked to go down and check that out. So I've heard decent things about it, but the one thing that kind of annoys me, the little thing, but it's kind of big in today's world, is that I know Desire Pearl does not have free Wi-Fi.
Well, the Wi-Fi, I would hope then, if it's not free, would be a little bit stronger, because it was patchy when you weren't in your room. So if you were on the beach, it was patchy, whether or not questionable if you'd get a good signal.
I mean, it was kind of cool though. You were able to check in and see the dogs.
We had a webcam
in their dog daycare over, over 3,000 miles away.
It made me feel comfortable. So, gosh, I can only imagine what I'm going to be like when I'm a mom. Oh, that's how I am with the dogs.
But going back to the white restaurant, so they have a body painter there, and there was a woman who had gotten body painting, and she was in there, so she had no top on, but it was that really elegant body painting that looked really cool and really sexy and really hot, and so she's just eating in the restaurant topless, but
still at the bottoms.
Still at the bottoms, and it was really elegant. That's kind of the theme of that restaurant, is just
most people wear clothing. I mean, that was kind of an unusual thing for her to be in there.
But they had some really
topless. But
I can't remember the specifics of what was on the menu, but they had some really, really good food.
And it was nice to be able to have champagne with our meals, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or wine, or whatever drinks you wanted. They had, and they offered desserts, which were pretty good too. I mean, all in all, the food was good: steaks and chicken and pork chops, and just the variety of meats and vegetarian options as well. It was good. And it wasn't all necessarily fatty, because I think that's a concern too. I think one of the mistakes that we made when we went there is we'd been on a pretty routine workout schedule up until then. Like I mentioned, we were trying to get into hot shape.
You want to get yourself in
you're going naked. You want to be desired,
right? Out all day, every day naked, so you want to get into pretty good shape.
Yep.
So.
And then we went, and we didn't work out at all while we were there. And I wish we had, because getting back into the swing of things when we came back was not pleasant.
After a week of not working out, you get back and
it was rough.
I felt so sluggish. Like, next time I'll wake up and go do at least a little jog or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, the workout room isn't anything special, but it's got enough.
Yeah, but if you're a health nut, they have fruit and vegetables, and they have healthy options. You don't have to go and eat real heavy food all day and feel fat and sluggish, and you can eat what you need to and what you want to, which is nice. So, and extra charges too, while I'm thinking of it. They have a spa.
Yeah.
And so you can get massages. They have a couples erotic massage or just regular couples massage. They've got a few different options.
We actually opted out because it's pretty expensive, although next time we
might be worth it.
Next time we go, I would definitely like to do it. I've heard very good things
Me
about
too.
the erotic massage. But then I also remember hearing, which I would want to look into, that there's a outside woman who does, Claudia, I think is her name. People had mentioned, I don't remember, but she like tries to service all of the Desire Resort. I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about something that I don't know the specifics about. But
well, it's something else to look into.
Yeah, but let's talk Playroom. So,
well, let's just talk evening in general.
No, I want to specifically talk about the Playroom because
you're skipping ahead. We haven't even talked about the evening festivities.
No, but I just want to. Well, okay, we can talk about the.
Because we were just talking about dinner. Let's make a natural progression.
All right, let's talk about.
So after dinner, you usually go back to your room and people change. And this is when you put on your evening wear. So every night has a theme. They vary. You can see what the themes are ahead of time, so you know what to plan and what to pack.
Mm-hmm.
And you can choose not to follow the theme, too. Not everybody does a theme. But there's sexy themes, like Devil and Angel, or I think one night was a sports night, so they're cheerleaders or little football girls, or they had a lingerie night. You know, things like that. They're sexy.
Oh, the lingerie. We need to talk about the lingerie night.
Yeah, exactly. So, maybe 8, 9 o'clock or so, you change and you head out to the main outdoor area, which is like a tiki bar next to a stage, and that's where they hold different festivities. So one night they had like break dancers out there, they had live music out there one night. The night that Cal's talking about, they had a sexy lingerie show. So the women who worked there went around and asked some of the Desire guests to participate in the catwalk and do a little Project Runway-esque walk and be in the stage show. So I participated in that. I was a little nervous about it.
That was so fucking hot. Like, where else? There's not too many places, and there's not too many men out there who can probably say that they've seen their woman walk down a runway in lingerie, strutting their stuff. So fucking hot.
And do a little sexy dance at the end of the runway and strut back. Yep.
So fucking hot.
Yeah, so those festivities go on. You get primed, you get a little liquored up at the outdoor bar, and then, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 o'clock or so, everybody goes up to the disco.
Mm-hmm.
And the disco has, I think they've renovated it since we were there, so you can check out the pictures online, but they've got a dance floor. All around the dance floor are beds and chairs to sit on, but mostly beds, and dance poles for dancing, and then there's a bar in the back. So they've got the lights like you would expect a disco to be, and they play all kinds of good dance music, good variety of dance music. You're not hearing the same stuff every night. So I think the DJ and the people who work there would go crazy.
I really like the layout of the disco with the beds that line the floor. Yep. And all the sexy seating. It's really really hot atmosphere, and that's one of the places that has the sexiest.
It is.
Like posters and stuff on the wall. The art that's on the wall is so hot. I just remember there's a pair of legs with the panties coming down.
Mm-hmm.
God, it was so hot.
Yep.
And it
was all smoke free too. I think they had a little outdoor section where you could smoke, but it was all smoke free.
Which as non-smokers we like.
Us,
so,
yeah.
But yeah, they had a little area for if you did want to smoke. They had like a balcony area.
Yep.
But what I wanted to get to is because I've heard of people. I read online about people who went to Desire and didn't talk to the right people or whatever, or they went and never even knew that there was a playroom there. Because you can't tell. You go up there, and the way the organization of the disco is, you cannot tell if there's like this little offshoot room that...
It's in the back. It's almost behind and to the left of the bar.
Yeah.
So
you don't know
have to go around towards the back of the bar.
It just
and
looks
off
like a
to
wall.
The side, and then all of a sudden there's this doorway that you don't even realize is there. There's no door on it. It's just an open doorway.
Yeah.
That leads to a very, very, very short little hallway, and you're essentially in a big room that's just red lighting, real low, dim red lighting. There's some porn on a TV.
Well, yeah, there's a few TVs that have porn running, and they have these cool, like, big circular beds, very modern, like, furniture in there, beds that are really hot, and there's a sex swing in there, and there's such a hot room. Yeah, you mentioned we didn't end up actually playing with anybody while we were there, but...
We gave a tutorial on how to use a sex swing.
Yeah, we showed people how to use a sex swing, and that was pretty hot, and it's funny being our age, and here we are showing couples in their mid-40s, here's how you use a sex swing, here's the logistics of it.
Here's some great positions you can do.
These are the positions, this is how you fuck, this is how I eat you out while it's in there, and it's hot.
It was hot.
Just everybody, even I think that was even the after parties that we talk about at hotel parties we talked about last time. This was even better because
it's a better atmosphere. It's a sexier
better.
Atmosphere. And what's nice is you can just be dancing. You get really hot on the dance floor. You can go relieve some steam and then go back out to the dance floor.
You
it's
get
all
hot
right there.
and bothered. You go back to the playroom.
I remember at one point we were in the dance in the dance and thinking to myself, man, it's early in the night. This place is cleared out a little bit, and it's only midnight. Where did everybody go? And then not too long later, it came back and it was busy again. They were all fucking.
But
I think that was before we knew where they went.
And then I remember you were giving one of the nights you were giving me a blowjob in there, and like we mentioned, we didn't actually play with anybody, but I know they're right next to us. A guy was fucking his girl, and you were.
Oh. He could see me blowing you, and he was into it, and then that made me more into it. It was hot.
Yeah, he was. You guys were kind of looking at each other while he was fucking his girl, and
and then he started fucking her harder, so she started moaning more, and I started blowing you more. It's like a round robin. I mean, that's one of the things that's great about the lifestyle is even if you didn't swap, you feed off of each other's energy so much. You play off of that. It's so hot.
So let's talk about the things to do outside of the resort.
Yeah.
We took a day trip to Chichen Itza, which is I feel like we definitely had to do it because it's one of the wonders of the world, the giant Mayan pyramid that you see.
You've probably seen it in high school or middle school textbooks. It's the big square looking pyramid, really, really steep stairs leading up to like a square temple at the top. And then they also have the old style sport court with the very narrow rings on the side of the walls where you try to get a rubber ball through.
So we went to Chichen Itza. There's a lot of ruins and a lot of Mayan culture that you can venture out to see, and so we definitely recommend doing that. But make sure you have the days to do it, because that is our one regret, which we won't repeat when we go back, is that you get to the resort and you don't want to leave. Like, you get there and you do not want to leave that place. It's such a hot, fun, sexy place.
You need to give yourself several days in a row, because your first day you're kind of integrating in, you're traveling that day, depends on what time you get in. We wanted our first day to really be a day at the resort, so we chose to get there at like 1 o'clock. But like I said, our room wasn't ready yet, so part of that day we spent just in our street clothes. We didn't really get integrated in and really get the resort life until the next day. And then the day after that, we're traveling to go to Chichen Itza. And then the next day, we had a whole day. And then the last day, we're leaving. So
we spent a whole day sightseeing. And I don't regret it.
It was really broken up.
Like I tell people, I don't regret going and seeing Chichen Itza. It's a sight to behold for sure.
It's phenomenal. It's amazing. The pictures don't do it justice until you're standing there in front of it and you go, holy shit, how did they build this, that many thousands of years ago?
I either needed to not go, which would have sucked because I wanted to see the ruins, or just take some extra days because you need to have the days. That's the thing.
And that's we paid for it through a travel group, so we were picked up in the morning by the travel group. We joined the main bus with the rest of the other travelers, and because our resort, like I said, it's not on the beaten path. It's not on the main strip. They picked us up first. We had to wait while all the other groups were picked up on the bus, so we were essentially the first stop, and then we were going to be the last ones dropped off. But the bus driver felt so bad for us and how late at night it was that he pulled over and they spent the extra money and got us a cab.
Yeah, it was an all-day thing.
It was literally like a 12-hour day. It was very long, very tiring. In hindsight, I might just opt to rent a car and not be on the day trip schedule.
Yeah, or even...
But it takes a lot of the stress out of it because you don't have to drive and be familiar with the area, get lost.
It's what I would have liked to have done, and it's pretty pricey, but is to get a private car or that where...
it drives you.
Yeah, it drives you by yourself, or if you have maybe you can get a couple of couples together and go take a day trip somewhere. But because if you're like us, you don't go to Mexico very often, so you want to kind of fit some sightseeing in while you're there, and so you go, and there is a lot to do, especially in the Yucatan, Maya Riviera area.
Yep.
And
there's Ixcaray, which is like a natural coral reef area that you can go to and actually go snorkeling in. Cal hasn't been there before. I was there like a decade ago. And it's a natural coral reef, which is pretty cool. You can go snorkeling and it's kind of like a little lazy river. I did a little mini cliff diving. It's not very big. I call it cliff diving, but it's more like big rock diving.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of other things to do. So, if you are the type of person that gets antsy being in one spot all the time, maybe do 3 or 4 days in a row at Desire, go have a day trip, come back to Desire for a couple more days, and then leave. Something like that. But give yourself a solid at least 3 days to just integrate into the resort and just relax.
Definitely. So, anything else about the resort? I think we kind of covered most of it.
Yeah, I think the only other thing to mention about extras to do is the resort offers day trips also.
Oh, yeah, they have
go on catamarans and boat excursions. And so that's another option if you want to go out. And that's actually sponsored through the resort. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to have that same travel situation that we did because you're only with resort people.
Yeah, I know you can take.
I've heard it's fun too.
You can take like day cruises and it's only with Desire couples so I forget how many there are, but 7 or 8 couples will all go out on the boat, and you can just be naked out there and just enjoy the ocean and
I think the prices are pretty reasonable too.
Yeah, definitely. So
I think that about wraps up Desire. All in all, it's a great trip. Definitely recommend it. We booked ours through Travelocity, I believe, but there's a number of lifestyle-friendly type travel agencies you could book through, or you could book direct through Desire's website. I think we got a better deal going through one of the travel agency type places, but that's what the internet's good for, shopping and comparing.
The other talk about the traveling reminds me too that Desire does have a like timeshare type program where you can what am I trying to say? They have a timeshare.
They accept timeshare points if you're on timeshare points or through RCI if you're familiar with timeshares.
And they have special perks if you do that. They have like day beds that are reserved for those.
They're a premium member. You can become a premium member.
But we didn't think that was worth our time. And when you get there, they ask you to do, like, if you'd be interested in taking a morning of an hour or two to do their timeshare talk, and we said no, and there's no pressure. Yeah. So
there are some people who swear by it though, because it guarantees you poolside bedding, and so you don't have to get up early to reserve it. It guarantees you that. They're a little bit nicer lounge chairs, and I think it also guarantees you a room with a jacuzzi or certain types of rooms.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe an upgraded room relative to a standard room.
Yeah.
So for some people it might be worth it. It wasn't something that we thought
No,
would
we
be
weren't
worth
interested in. And you don't have to worry about any pressure that if you say no to this deal, it's guaranteed that they're going to ask you about it when you check in. Just say you're not interested, and then
they're not pushy at all.
Then you're good to go.
Yep.
So
I think that wraps it up. All in all, it's a great trip. And we really had a good time. So with that, why don't we move on to some sexy news?
All the American troops pulling out help the situation?
No. So if you think you want the money shot of them with their arms in the air, you're going to get it. It's in both of their self-interest right now.
You say the money shot?
The money shot, yeah.
And Belinda, I just can't understand how something so small can be so impressive.
Well, Mark, you would know about that.
So this week in Sexy News, we have a couple of funny stories. The first one is that there's going to be the first porn star in space.
Ooh, they're sending a porn star to space?
Yeah, porn star.
That's awesome. Too bad they have to wear clothing, though.
Yeah, that's true. But porn star Coco Brown, who I'm not too familiar, but she is known for her films such as Big Booty Bomb 2.
I want to know about Big Booty Bomb 1. What happened?
But she has booked her, has booked one of the 145 seats that are available on a
is that like SpaceX?
No, it's like SpaceX, but it's one of those suborbital trips where it's technically space, but
it's technically space, but you're not actually leaving Earth's orbit.
Yeah,
or you're not actually leaving the atmosphere and entering the orbit, so you don't have to you still have to boost rockets to come down, but you're not. Is it really Is there gravity?
Yeah, no,
Maybe
it's 0G.
It's 0G?
And she's actually passed her 0G training. So, I mean, it's kind of, it's serious.
Those titties can float.
And it's funny because there's a quote of her talking about having sex in space, and she maybe one day like to shoot a porn in space. And
how old is this chick? Because reserving a seat on that flight is not going to be cheap. So she has to be at least have made some significant money.
Sure,
maybe
I'm not sure.
If not in her career, investments or something, because I imagine that's not cheap.
Well,
I mean, I remember when Lance Bass from NSYNC, this is, I don't know, at least probably more than 5 years ago, he wanted to book a flight to go into space before it was really being commercialized, and I think it was like $5 million. Now, I mean, price of things goes down dramatically with time, so I'm sure it's not that much now, but it's still not cheap. So. But
what I found funny is that when I was reading about this article, there has been a porn that was done in there was a weightless scene done in a porn.
Did they do it in the Vomit
Comet?
Comet?
Yeah, they did it like the Vomit Comet.
Oh, that's awesome. What porn is it?
The Uranus Experiment 2. It's always 2. It's
Uranus
always
Experiment 2.
Yeah, so they did the thing like they did for what's the Apollo 13, where the plane goes up and it makes the gigantic arc, so that they're weightless for a little bit. So yeah. I would be interested in seeking out just that scene from
we know it's in Uranus 2.
Uranus Experiment 2.
Uranus Experiment 2.
But keep on the
That'd
lookout.
Be interesting.
Keep on the lookout for Coco Brown.
Do you think it's anal?
I don't know.
Coco Brown, she's got to be into anal. I mean, come on, Coco Brown.
But
she's got to be.
But
and she's in what? Big Booty something 2? What did you say it was?
It was a Big Booty Bomb 2.
Oh yeah.
But
she's probably in the DP anal.
But be on the lookout for any news about the first porn star in space.
Yeah.
So the other one is that Durex is going to be providing 1-hour delivery service for condoms in Dubai.
That's awesome, but 1 hour, your mojo's gone. When I want a condom, I need a fucking condom now. Or you're on a date. So here's what I'm imagining. You're on a date. The date's going well. Let's say you're out to dinner or you're at the dance floor or something, and you realize, shit, I didn't get a condom. This isn't the kind of place that sells them by the quarter in the bathroom, which would be ideal. You just go in the bathroom and drop in your quarter. I don't even, is it still a quarter? Is it 50 cents? I don't even know. I've never bought a condom in one of those machines.
No,
and they usually glow in the dark, so they're cheesy.
Yeah, the ones from the bathrooms, those are cheap. You don't want to buy those anyways, but I started to see those less and less. I mean, being the guy, they're always,
me too.
They're usually in the
They
guys'
always have
bathrooms.
a tampon machine, but they don't usually, and then sometimes Advil or aspirin, but not usually condom. So anyway, your date's going well, and you realize, shit, I don't have a condom. I can't just stop at the grocery store and be presumptuous, because what if the girl's like, where are you going? Stopping at the gas station to pick up a pack of gum, maybe, make up as a lie? Like, let's say, if you don't know this girl, it's like your first or second or third date. Instead, you just ring up your condom taxi. Can you meet me at my house? And they drop it off.
Yeah, but it's funny. So they have guaranteed that between the hours of 4 a.m. and 4 p.m., they will... You call and a guaranteed condom within an hour.
Let's rethink that, though. 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. By 4 a.m., I'm already fucked out.
It's essentially all day. I mean...
No, 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's not 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. I mean, if they're telling you it's 4 a.m. to 4 p.m., that means early in the morning and mid-afternoon. It's guaranteed to be an hour. Anytime after 4 p.m., between 4 p.m. and 4 a.m., it's not guaranteed.
I got
Did
that
you
wrong.
say it backwards?
It's 4 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Okay, because as I say, if it's 4 a.m. to 4 p.m., who gives a shit? You've already fucked.
Yeah,
Or you're fucking in the middle of the day, or it's morning sex, come on.
Either way, it's 12 hours. So yeah, anytime from 4 p.m. Up till 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah, that's prime time, sex time.
But yeah, so that's interesting that anywhere within the city limits, they will get
that's awesome.
a condom to you within an hour.
Now, the question is, can you specify a brand? I want a Trojan for her.
Well, I assume since it's Durex, it's Durex.
Oh, it's Durex. Yeah, that's true. Well, now, do you know what the charge is for the service?
No, I don't know.
I'm sure there's a premium, but when you're getting your fuck on, you're getting your fuck on, right? So you gotta be safe.
And I wonder if they'll expand to that to. I don't know. I just can't see anything like that happening in the United States, at least right now.
I don't know. I mean, Dubai's a big city. I didn't know they were that progressive. Apparently, they are, but. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a test city and if they brought it to some place like certain city limits of New York or Boston or Chicago. I mean, those are big cities. I don't know how they compare relative to Dubai. I think Dubai is pretty big too. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. I wonder why they selected that city.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The article didn't mention that, but it is interesting that it's in Dubai, that it's that progressive.
Yeah, yeah. And if I know my Sex in the City, I think that's where they go in Sex in the City 2. and I don't think public acts of affection were well liked by the women in the Sex in the City.
But they need their condoms fast, though.
They do. They're sex pots.
So the last article that I wanted to talk about was that the changing landscape of families. I found this really interesting. A Florida judge has granted 3 parents on a birth certificate: a lesbian couple and a gay man.
Wow. So did the gay man supply the sperm?
Yes.
That's fantastic that they're recognizing both women and not just a woman and a man then.
I think there was some controversy, at least, that the women, I'm not sure if the women wanted him to be on the birth certificate, but he wanted to be, but regardless of
I assume they knew whose egg was the donor.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a surprise where we mixed our eggs and I provided the uterus, but we don't know if it was yours or mine.
But that is just a
progressive.
It is fundamentally change in families that child legally has 3 parents, three parents on their birth certificate.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you're asking for some complex parenting situations and some complex custody situations. So I assume in that case, the gay man wants parental rights, or he would have waived to be on the birth certificate.
I think so.
Assumption.
Yeah. I think that was that he was pushing. He was the one pushing to be on the birth certificate.
Now I'm an adopted child, and I originally had a birth certificate with my biological parents, but that birth certificate is not my real birth certificate. My real one now is with my adoptive parents. So, I don't have 4 parents listed on my birth certificate. So it's interesting how they've, opted to list that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I just thought that was just.
I think that's great for gay and lesbian rights too.
Yeah, it's a good move that there's something that progressive is happening.
Now, what state was that in?
Florida.
Okay. Now, does Florida have? I don't know if you know this. Does Florida allow gay marriage?
I should know it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I'd just be curious to see where they are on that front too, if they're that progressive or not. I think Florida's typically they're a swing state, so they could go either way. I guess Jeb Bush being down there, that would be Republican, isn't it?
No, Jeb Bush is Texas, I believe.
Is he? Oh, I don't know.
That's where the Bushes are from. He's the governor of Texas.
I think he was in Florida.
I'm not sure.
I think that was why there was all the business with the hanging Chad and...
No, I don't think so. We're not the political...
No, we're not.
We're not the political family, as you can tell.
Okay, don't listen to me.
It could be... I don't think it's Florida, though, that Jeb Bush was governor from. Yeah, we'll have to look it up. But with that, I think we will go ahead and move on to our news segment.
Yep, so we're not going to do a hot scene today.
We were a little busy this week. We didn't have time to get to actually watch anything, and
I was traveling, so
nothing. And
the only thing that got me going was my sexy dream.
Yeah, well,
that was a hot scene.
Well, it got me going too.
It did. So instead, we're going to introduce a new segment, which we'll do occasionally from time to time, not every episode. This one is Who Would You Gangbang? Or Celebrity Gangbang.
Well, we have a deal where we each get to pick 5 different celebrities that we can sleep with. And the other one can't get mad.
The heart of every healthy relationship. Honesty, respect, and sex with celebrities.
So the rules of this are, not really rules, but for this round, we are going to select 3 members of the celebrity era, whatever, 3 celebrities, any 3 celebrities for gangbang. And maybe the next time we do this, we'll mix it up and say it has to be a certain division of males and females or certain ethnicities, or I don't know, we'll mix it up. But for now, we're just going to keep it open and say which 3 celebrities would you gangbang.
The rules are pretty simple. Just who would you fuck?
Yes. And how would you want them to fuck you? Or how would you want to fuck them? You can see I have the girl perspective.
Interesting.
So, Cal, why don't you go first?
Well, are we going to list them all at the same time?
Yeah, give all 3.
All right. So my 3 are, we are Top Chef fans. So Padma,
Lakshmi.
Lakshmi, I believe is how you pronounce her name, from Top Chef. She is so fucking hot. She's
pretty hot. I'll give you that.
I believe her ethnicity is...
She's Indian.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't quite sure. So yeah, she's Indian. She's a former model, but now she's a foodie, and she's smoking hot.
Yep. And they dress her pretty well in Top Chef.
We just finished watching the TV show Fringe, the Fox TV show wrapped up, and I've been digging Anna Torv. She's the blonde main lead on that show. She plays Olivia, and I've been digging her.
That really surprises me because she's so girl next door, kind of thin. Her hair's always in a ponytail, and you're not the kind of guy who likes that. They had her in this like leather jacket all season, like this like biker leather. You like that?
I
thought it would be too.
I think only
too much boyish.
I think only certain people could pull it off, but I don't know. I think it worked for her, and the show clearly knew it because that's what they had her in the whole season.
Well, they had her in that because she was stuck in Amber for 21 years and had no other clothing.
True. And then my last one would be Jennifer Lawrence from. She's getting bigger. She's right now the hot thing from Silver Linings Playbook, the Oscar nominated film.
Pretty hot in that, but she's was also in X-Men First Class.
X-Men First Class. She's the main chick in Hunger Games. Yeah. Although we haven't seen Hunger Games, it doesn't interest me. But so that is my list.
So how would you want this to go down?
I think just to.
Are you taking turns in the puss?
I'm taking turns.
Is one blowing you? What's going on here? Do you want some girl on girl? Like, do you want to see Anna Torv on?
It'd be pretty fucking hot.
Padma? What do you want to see? Is one of them wearing a strap on? How's this going down?
Well, no strap-ons. Those can stay out of there. But I think it'd be pretty hot to do everything. But one scenario that would be hot, I think I could be fucking Padma while she's going down on Jennifer Lawrence.
So you're fucking Padma doggy style, and Padma's eating out Jennifer Lawrence. Meanwhile, Anna Torv is giving you a rim job.
Indeed. And then Jennifer Lawrence can go between rim job and going and getting her puss eaten by Anna Torv.
See, I was picturing Padma as the center of attention and Anna Torv and.
Well, I'm the center of attention.
Well, yeah, but if there was a second where you wanted a little break and just to hold your cock in hand for a little bit, then I could see Padma as being the center, and then Anna Torv going up on the upper region and taking care of the titties, and then Jennifer Lawrence taking care of the lower region in this little threesome scenario. I could see a little bit of that too.
That would be hot.
That's pretty hot.
So who's on your celebrity gangbang list?
So I've kind of been in the beefcake mood. Lately I've been rocking the big man hot abs kind of feel. That's kind of what was going on in my dream, so that's what I'm feeling right now. I go through phases. Sometimes I want the more pretty boy style. Although if you're too thin, you gotta have some muscle on you. So I was thinking about this, and I think number one is going to be Chris Hemsworth, a.k.a. Thor, from the Avengers.
You want him to give you the hammer.
Yeah, he can lay his hammer anywhere he wants.
Mjolnir.
I don't think I'll call it that, though. Fuck me with your hammer. So he'd be number one. And then I'm thinking Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. I saw him recently in a Fast 6 preview and was like, he is looking fun. And he's also another beefcake, and he puts a little Latino edge in there. So that mixes it up a little bit. And while we're on the Fast 5 or Fast 6 track, why not throw a little Vin Diesel in there? Really? His voice is so sexy. It's so deep. I like a deep voice.
He's had a revival with the new Fast and Furious movies, but I feel like he is so
he's still
late
built.
90s.
Well, come on. Look at what The Rock's done. He's been in kids' movies more recently than anything, like the Tooth Fairy and The Pacifier and
that's
whatever.
True.
And
that's true.
But
the
Journey.
But he rocked it in Fast 5, I think. So.
He did. He's a badass.
So
those are my three muscle-bound guys.
Let's hear your scenario. Let's hear the sex scenario. Well, how does it go down?
Normally I like to watch gay porn when there's a lot of men involved. These three are too manly for that. I don't want any peen crossing in this case. It's all peen in my face. So, I think what I'm picturing right now would be, it would start off with maybe Thor laying the hammer. And then not a big DP person, but I wouldn't mind trying that out with probably Vin Diesel, because I imagine he's smaller than The Rock. Because The Rock has The Rock, you know. I mean, he's got to be gigantic with his python. and then I'll, blow The Rock, and then they'll swamp and rotate in and out. So I just imagine all of them kind of taking turns amongst the puss and pleasuring me, and then eventually probably come on my titties.
Sounds pretty hot.
Yep. I just need lots of muscle to grab onto. Like, they can just hold me in the air. Like, one can hold me, hoist me in the air while the other one fucks me, you know? Like,
now
they're so strong. They can just, like, toss me from man to man and just, like, hold me up and just move me up and down on their cock while they're standing. Yeah.
A sight to behold.
Yep. So, that's what I'm thinking. For this time around, that's what I'm feeling, the big man. Not necessarily big cock. Average cock. Too big of a cock's not good, but average cock, big muscly. That's what I want.
Well, all right. I think that wraps it up.
Sounds like it. It's been a good episode 8. So please send us your emails. Send us your sexy threesomes. I'd be curious to know what our listeners are feeling. What's your celebrity gangbang for now? What are you feeling? So send us some emails. We'd love to hear from you. Also, rate us on iTunes. Give us a rating. Give us some feedback, whether it's good or bad. We'd love to hear from you on that.
And shoot us some emails. We've been getting emails, and we love to hear from our listeners through the emails.
Yep,
it's really fun to hear how people have been getting into the show, what scenarios, how you've progressed, or where you're at in your swinger life, and
questions, comments, any of that. That's swinginaround@gmail.com. No G at the end of swingin'. And, of course, you can find us on iTunes. We're on Twitter. Our handle is just swinging around. No G at the end of swinging.
And we will start tweeting more. I promise it's going to happen at some point. We just got to find the time. We got to do it. I know that people have been asking for us to tweet more, and we know we should.
Can we just say twat more?
We need to get more twat out there.
My twat's out there. There's a lot of twattage. Also, you can find us on Stitcher and our blog, which is swinginaround.blogspot.com.
All right. I think that wraps it up. We'll see you guys next time. Stay sexy and stay swinging.